Welcome back to Near Post Flick On. Right, so Arsenal, they are virtually on the edge of greatness. I repeat, they are on the edge of greatness. Why? Because they are literally 3 games away now for accomplishing something that I don't think anybody saw coming. They could potentially do a double, and this squad could go down as one of their greatest ever sides. You know, you can argue and say, well, the player for player, are they the best? Maybe not. Maybe not. But, Arteta has been given the time that he's needed to build a squad, and he's been entrusted to deliver the goods. And judging by the way Arsenal have did their business this season, I think they've got it right. I think the board has been spot on with sticking with Arteta, even though, some of the fans have said, Arteta out over the years, Arteta out over the years. Even this season, they said it, a couple of them. But at the end of the day, this is what you get when you trust your manager and you trust what he's trying to do. You trust in the process. You trust in his ideology, his own vision for what he sees. And at the end of the day, they left him to his own devices. And look, Arsenal are literally 3 games away from being absolutely victorious. Now, they've just beaten West Ham 1-0. Some of the Hammers supporters may say it's a bit controversial, given that one of their goals was, ruled off for infringement on the goalkeeper, on Raya. And mind you, Raya in that game made a fantastic save. He made a fantastic save. So, West Ham, they could have gone 1-up, but they didn't take their chances. And especially if you're fighting relegation, you've got to take your chances. But yeah, back to Arsenal now. So Arsenal are literally 3 games away from being victorious. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I said, look, if they beat West Ham, they've pretty much got one hand on the trophy. They've pretty much got one hand on the trophy. Now, their remaining games are Burnley and Palace. So they've got Burnley at home. You expect this Arsenal side to beat Burnley all day, every day. So Arsenal will muller them. I can't see Arsenal dropping points against Burnley. I just can't see it. Burnley already relegated, they're championship bound, and it should be a walk in the park for Arsenal. Absolutely. And then the last game of the league is against Crystal Palace on the 24th of May. And again, as I say, I can't, and Palace, of course, they've got the Conference Cup final that they've got to play in as well. So they're going to have that in mind. Arsenal should get a victory there as well. I can't see Arsenal losing to Crystal Palace. I just can't see it. I find that very hard to see. So you could very well say, yes, Arsenal have pretty much won the league almost. And it's testament to giving that trust to Arteta. Because if they'd gotten rid of Arteta at the start of the season, if they'd gotten rid of him last year, if they'd gotten rid of him 3 years ago and caved into the fans' demands, Arsenal won't be in this position. They won't be in a position whereby they're about to do a double. They could potentially win they're going to win the Premier League, and they could potentially win their final game of the season against PSG in the Champions League final. It's going to be very tough and very difficult, but, Arsenal can do it. It's not beyond their capabilities. If they set up right, they can beat PSG, who by far are the better team as far as going forward is concerned. So in that Champions League final, you'll have one of the best defensive sides going up against one of the best attacking sides. But it's one game, it's 90 minutes, so anything can happen. Anything can happen in that game. So but you just wouldn't bet against PSG because they are that good and they do have a great side. But Arsenal are on the verge of greatness. So you could just imagine that. Arsenal winning the Premier League and the Champions League. So, Arsenal supporters, how do you feel? Do you feel like this squad of players or this first 11, is that the best Arsenal 11 of all time? I don't think so. I don't think this is the best Arsenal side we've ever seen. But I think as a unit and what Arteta's done, I think it's worked. It's worked because it's gotten them to the top of the summit. And, I think, key players have come back at the right time. So you look at Saka and what he's contributed over the last couple of games. And they've missed him, but he's come back at the right time. You look at people like Eze and the contributions he's made since going over to Arsenal, and the defense have been absolutely solid, Gabriel and Saliba have been immense back there, that you could just go right through the Arsenal sides and you could pick out players that have contributed a lot this season, and I think, to be fair to them as well, I think they probably deserve to be where they are. They let Man City creep in a couple of times, but I think Arsenal have been the most consistent. Like them or loathe them, they've been the most consistent side in the Premier League this year. It is what it is. You just got to admit that they have been the most consistent team this year. And I think City, on a good day, would have probably taken advantage of the opportunity that Arsenal gave to them by letting them come back. But having beaten West Ham, I think, you'd be a fool to bet against Arsenal winning the league because it's almost there now. But as I say, Arsenal, this is a moment for them. Arsenal doing the double, winning the Premier League and the Champions League, and that's just crazy. I find it hard to fathom, especially with this Arsenal side. But as I say, it's one of those things, you've got to give credit where credit's due. So I don't think Arsenal fans are going to be chanting Arteta out anytime soon, as long as they win whatever they've got to win. So it's all Arsenal's. They do look like they're about to do something spectacular. And I guess you could say they deserve it. Yeah, you may not agree with the style of football that they've done this season, but at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do. So it's about getting 3 points, and it's about winning games, and it's about getting trophies. And they're about to get 2 of them. So I take my hat off to them. But let's see how the rest of the season goes. 2 more games, Burnley, Palace, and then the Champions League final with PSG. But I'm sure that's going to be a cracker as well. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Adios.